the light. From turning into darkness, you'd be my escape. What have we been told? Easy to unfold. Future might seem out of reach, but we're getting close. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me? We won't leave it to chance. We can't wait our romance. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me? We won't leave it to chance. We can't wait our romance. We'll never be the same
So, oh, yep. Just stand by, folks. Oh, we're ready to go. We're ready to action. Ready, 3, 2, 1. Let's go, everybody. Cause hey, with anime in our souls and thoughts of wrestling out of control, we are a group of weebs who love the entertainment of professional wrestling. So allow us to be the voices inside of your head as we go through the wrestling events of the evening, give our thoughts and predictions on what's to come, and provide an experience inclusive to all you nerds out there. So grab your steel chair, yell for the table, get put through an experience unlike any other. We are brought to you by AniMa W3 Studio, and this is the Weebs of the Ring podcast. Welcome, salutations, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, and children of all ages. Hopefully you have had a great week ahead of us as February comes to a close. We start off with March, and spring will soon be upon us, as is the road to WrestleMania. We got one more stop on our way. I see the chat's already popping off with some Vash action. We got some Moose going on in there. But hey, hopefully you guys are having a good night. We are here to talk about SmackDown, which may have been quite possibly the best 3-hour show we've gotten in a long time, but we'll get into that here in a second. Of course, as always, I am your world champion Watkins here to give you the SmackDown lowdown as we throw down on this beatdown on a Friday night. And I am never alone in this endeavor. For tonight, we have the genius of the mat himself, Drop This Box, joining us. Drop, how you doing tonight, buddy? Mm. Mm-hmm. Oh, same here. Even in terms of like go home shows, like between Raw and SmackDown, this might have been one of the best ones, and I have some thoughts on why that could be, and just mainly with the overall flow with the show and all that. Now, unfortunately, Vash is not here with us tonight. He had to take care of a tepig who decided to jump into a river and try to save a poor Chikorita from being drowned by a Totodile.
Poor Chikorita.
So, I know, right? Poor Chikorita and Tepig this week. They cannot get any wins whatsoever, no matter what they do. But speaking of wins, we're gonna start with our big headline story, because like plans change, as we normally know, when it comes to the world of wrestling and all that. And at first, we were going to have a U.S. title match between Shinsuke Nakamura and LA Knight. Yeah. But, you know, unfortunate circumstances had to happen. Unfortunately, Shinsuke Nakamura lost a family member recently, and he had to take some time off to kind of go see family, grieve, and all that. So, you know, thoughts and prayers, obviously, to you, Shinsuke, for, you know, what you might be going through right now. But with plans needing to change, what do we do on this 3-hour go-home show for SmackDown? Well, let's just make a whole night tournament to decide a number one contender for our U.S. title. So we had 3 singles matches tonight that would all going to culminate into a triple threat match for the main event. Yeah. We had Andrade taking on Jacob Fatu. We had LA Knight taking on Santos Escobar. And we had Braun Strowman taking on Carmelo Hayes. So first, I kind of want to ask real quick, how do you feel about having a one-night tournament? Because we don't get these quite often, especially in our WWEs and all that. So how did you feel when this news came out about a one-night tournament?
So at first, I thought it was going to be exactly how everything was mapped out from last week, but obviously you can't really prevent, you know, certain circumstances that end up coming up in your life. So that's completely understandable when it comes to Shinsuke's situation. But I was actually quite surprised that they decided to structure it the way they did tonight when it came to the 3 one-on-one matches, and then you had the triple threat as the main event to close out the show, because normally they settle things within like 2 to 3 weeks or so. But now they have everything all settled. You got Jacob going over in his match. You had LA Knight going over in his, and then Carmelo going over in his, and we'll obviously talk about those matches once we get to it. But I felt like it was probably a way to really give some substance to SmackDown, really just fill in that 3-hour gap with some good matches for tonight, because I mean, you got to figure it out. Like, one of the things that we've been talking about the most is how you really gonna properly pace the 3-hour SmackDown format. I mean, you look at how it's been recently, it hasn't really been all that good, but I felt like the way that they did tonight, hopefully that's a direction that they continue to go down. Hopefully they look at this and try to format it in a similar way, so things can turn around for them.
Yeah, especially with the mid-card division, because like, yeah, you can have your stories for the titles and all that stuff, but like, really, like, non-title feuds can help elevate the stars too and all that, you know. And I mean, my thoughts with like a one-night tournament, because so this kind of took me back to like my high school years doing wrestling and all that stuff, where we would have a one-day tournament where it's like, okay, you get to the place where you're going to, so like the high school, for example, you get to the high school at like, oh my gosh, what time would we get there? Like 7 a.m, having to weigh in and all that. And then you'd be warming up for the rest of the morning until like 9 when the first rounds start. And like the rounds in the tournament would go on like all day until like 6 or 7 o'clock at night and everything. So, you know, if you kept winning, because it was usually double elimination, so if you kept winning, you know, obviously you'd have more matches and all that. And yeah, it could get tiring a little bit, and that's where you really work on your endurance and your strength and all that. So like having a one-night tournament like this is really good in that aspect, because it's like, okay, we're gonna see who can outlast the night and all that. We're gonna see who has the endurance, the strength, the tenacity, if you will, to win in the end and all that. And I mean, in the end, it is still LA Knight that goes over and all that, but like some of these matches we got like really cooked. So like this first match we had between Andrade and Jacob Fatu. Now, originally it was supposed to be Solo Sikoa versus Andrade, but we got this backstage moment here where Solo basically said, you know, yeah, I should be in this, but you know what, Jacob? I want you to call the shots tonight. I want you to take the reins, and I want you to be the one to bring the U.S. title back to the family and all that. And yeah, Andrade and Jacob really cooked. I'm glad this wasn't like a squash match or anything. You know, it was able to showcase not only just Andrade working with a bigger, stronger guy, but even Jacob Fatu, because like we haven't had too many singles matches for him. So like giving him somebody that's not really involved with the bloodline, giving him a singles match like that was really good for Jacob Fatu, and like just growing his stock as well. And I mean, having Jacob go over is the correct move. But why don't you talk to me, Drop here? What did you think of this match?
I mean, I'm glad it was like a different matchup, because with the other matchups we got, like LA Knight and Santos, I can't even begin to tell you how many times we've seen that. And then you had Braun Strowman and Carmelo. We've got that quite a few times. So it was nice to get something fresh. You know, Andrade, like you said, isn't involved with the bloodline. So seeing him have a match with Jacob Fatu, a match that we haven't seen between them at all. Like, this is like the first time ever we got a match between the both of them. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a great start to start off all of these matches when it came to, you know, figuring out who the number one contender is going to be for the U.S. title. I thought they did very well. It was a, both of them did great. I can't really say one really outlasted the other. I felt like both of them did really great. Jacob was the right person to go over. And I just really like how Jacob really feels like a true star on SmackDown, because one of the things I have noticed when it came to our coverage of these shows, like I said before, you know, SmackDown hasn't really been hitting as much as it used to ever since it transitioned to like the whole 3-hour format. But one of the things that has stood out the most to me when it comes to just SmackDown as of recent, when it comes to 2025, is Jacob Fatu. Like, if there's like anything I gotta pick out that I really pay attention to and something that I really look forward to every Friday night when I'm watching SmackDown, it's Jacob Fatu, because I love what they're doing between him and Solo. I like how they're taking the time with that story, building it into WrestleMania. And I really feel like, you know, they're slowly pushing him to be that star that we know he's going to be down the line. And I truly feel like this is going to be his breakout year.
Sorry, folks, moving some things right along here. Yeah, I agree with you there. Like, this is a good way to kind of, again, showcase Jacob Fatu, push him further as a single star and all that. Even, I mean, I don't like the fact that we keep putting him into these multi-man matches, like either tag matches or triple threats where he doesn't win. But I mean, I get it too, because at least he's not taking the pinfalls. But I mean, we'll see when we talk about the triple threat a little bit. Like, he did a majority of the work, a majority of the damage in that match, and ended up not winning and all that. But I mean, again, a good thing that Jacob won this match. I mean, again, he needed the forward momentum and all that. And I mean, kind of like what you said with like the other two matches. I mean, we've seen them plenty of times before. I mean, Ella Knight and Santos Escobar, they have really good chemistry with one another. And I mean, they pulled out some kind of semi-new stuff where it's like, okay, Santos doing this top rope Hurricane Rana onto LA Knight, which looked great. And then, I mean, even just the finish of the match with LA Knight kind of catching Santos doing a flying nothing, going into a BFT. Like that, the timing for that looked really good, you know. But again, like they have good chemistry with each other. Do you have anything else you want to add with like the Santos versus LA Knight part?
When it comes to when it comes to this match, really, I can't really say much. It's probably because, I mean, we've seen it so many times. I'm just I just grown accustomed to it at this point where I really know, I always know what the result's going to be and everything, but, you know, they do have great chemistry with one another. It's nice to see LA Knight, you know, advance in here because it was really the only option you could have really done when it comes to forwarding the story, when it comes to the U.S. title picture, when it comes to structuring their mid-card division. So those are pretty much like the overall thoughts I really have on that match.
Okay. All right, and then, you know, moving on with like the Braun Strowman versus Carmelo Hayes one. I mean, this kind of started almost being like a glorified squash in favor of Braun Strowman, but when the Bloodline got involved with Tama Tonga pulling out an interference, distracting the ref and all that, and then Solo tries to attack Braun with a chair. Obviously, doesn't do anything because hey, he's Braun freaking Strowman. But it's enough to like get enough distractions going on where Carmelo Hayes ends up pulling an Eddie Guerrero, taking a steel chair, hitting it on the ground, tossing it to Braun, and then just laying on the ground. The ref immediately calling for the DQ. And like, we haven't gotten a finish like this in quite a while, so it was kind of refreshing seeing that and everything. But I mean, I'm kind of glad the match went this route. Between the two, because again, we've seen this before, and especially with Braun taking on Carmelo, it's kind of one-sided, so it's nice to see how Carmelo can kind of get out of ways to either fight Braun or to kind of get a sneaky win on him too.
Yeah, I felt like this was like the best option you could have really done with this match, because I mean, look at it from like, if you look at this from like a regular one-on-one, there could have been a chance where Melo could have gotten like a quick roll up or something to advance, but for the most part, it probably would be Braun Strowman just throwing him around the wing and then advancing and then progressing into that triple threat we saw later that night. But I mean, Carmelo Hayes used his brain and he figured out, okay, no, there's Trey getting involved right now. Let's pull a trick out of like the old book and like pull an Eddie Guerrero and pretend I got hit and then throw the chair towards Braun, so the referee thinks he hit me so I can advance. Like, it's very smart. And also another thing to throw in there as well, he's not wasting as much energy when he heads into that triple threat as well. Like, to be honest, he probably had the best amount of energy heading into that triple threat because he didn't really have to do as much within this match because of the sort of strategy that he took to advance. So.
Oh yeah. And especially considering when that match took place, because it was the last of those singles matches leading into the triple threat and all that. So yeah, very smart on Carmelo on that aspect to fake the chair shot and then just faint from it. So really, really love that part. And of course, this triple threat match we got Jacob Fatu taking on LA Knight and Carmelo Hayes. I mean, this match slapped hard. Like, it slapped so hard, you know, it would probably knock out your own mama. But anyways, like, and like I said earlier, I mean, Jacob Fatu kind of did the most damage in the match. But, I mean, because of LA Knight being that cheeky bastard that he is, pulls him out of the ring and lands a pinfall victory over Carmelo Hayes to advance and become the number one contender for the U.S. title. But yeah, I mean, there's part of me that would love to go blow for blow for this, but like this is one of those ones that I will recommend you guys go to watch. Like the Andrade versus Jacob Fatu match, and then this triple threat match. Definitely go back and look. And I mean, dare I say this might be a front runner for match of the year, at least on WWE's side. You know, I mean, that's just an early statement to say, but I mean, it's an early front runner.
Yeah, it was a really great triple threat between the both of them. I liked how, you know, you got the right guys involved: Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, Carmelo Hayes, the people that I would assume most fans wanted to see in this match, so they can go at each other, and then we end up getting LA Knight to advance, which was the original winner, so he can conclude that story with Shinsuke, which I would assume he would probably go over because he can't keep losing against Shinsuke.
Yeah, no, he should probably go over that, and if not LA Knight, then somebody else.
Yeah.
Just get it off of Shinsuke so that we can
There's a
do
part
a
of me
little
that
bit more with it.
there's a part of me that really wanted Jacob Fatu to win the triple threat and then
Oh, same here.
go up against Shinsuke, win the title off of him, and then you could have done something with that.
Yeah. Then you could have had like, okay, well, Solo in the back's just like, all right, give me the title. It's mine now. It's just like, nah, I earned this. You already tried that with the tag titles. Look where that got you.
I'll even say this too. You'd probably get like instant credibility to that title if Jacob Fatu had it.
Oh, hands down. Like, I mean, just again, you look at the match he had tonight with Andrade.
Yeah.
And that statement easily has some credibility behind it. It has the backing behind it. It has the pedigree behind it.
He's
like,
great in ring. He's charismatic. He has the full package.
Mm-hmm.
Could work a really good feud.
Exactly. I mean, again, he has mastered that whole like walking to the ring through gorilla promo. Like he has mastered that kind of format when it comes to a promo and all that. But yeah, again, we've got LA Knight, number one contender now for Shinsuke's US title. When's that match going to happen? Not really sure. It wasn't really clear tonight when it's going to happen. I mean, chances are this could be LA Knight's Mania match. That is a possibility, but we'll have to wait and see if it ends up being a singles match or if this is one of those ones that turn into a multi-man, because this might be the year of multi-person matches or rematches.
Multi-mania.
Yep, multi-mania going on. So, all right. Well, enough of our headline story. Let's dive right in to our WWE title picture. So, as we know, last week, The Rock came out to kind of throw that proverbial monkey wrench into all the WrestleMania plans, being like, Cody, I want your soul. I want you to be my champion, the true people's champion, if you will. And this leads us to an interesting night where it's like The Rock gets Cody this new locker room, which is basically like a suite with a bunch of lounge chairs, a lot of sushi to eat.
Yeah,
and
that shit.
Oh, I would I saw that platter on there. I was like, I would devour that thing like a munchlax trying to eat its own weight.
It's like
we get a fun segment.
Get me some of that, like that spicy sauce they put on the sushi. I'll eat all that shit up.
Oh yeah. Oh shoot, I might get a thing of sushi tomorrow when I'm out. I might. It's a good
some food for chamber.
Exactly, like it's a good little chamber meal and all that.
It's healthy.
But we get a few segments here and there before Cody goes to the ring. Like we had our truth back there, being like, "Yeah, I'd sell my soul to get all this food." We had Drew McIntyre coming by, who's basically saying, you've already sold your soul, Cody, so have fun trying to do that again. And of course, Punk, being the Punk that he is, he wants Cody to take that offer, turn it sideways, shove it up his own butt, and just have at it as it is. Now, few segments from this, you could possibly lead towards whoever's winning tomorrow. I mean, Drew on the totem pole of winning is kind of low. Yeah. But I mean, a lot of people are calling Punk. I mean, if you watched Grappling with the Week last night, you would know that the team is kind of pulling for Punk to win. So, but he also, like, the way this promo went on with Punk, it almost kind of screamed to me that he's going to be selling out. That he's going to be the one selling his soul to The Rock, Yeah,
because like I do have. Wait, do you want to give our thoughts on the Cody Rock thing first, or do you want to transition to like?
We'll transition into that. Let's hit this like beginning stuff first, because this has kind of stuff that goes on to tomorrow as well.
All right, because I definitely do have some thoughts on. I mean, this was probably my
Yeah.
favorite segment out of the night when it comes to like in-ring stuff, like outside of what we got with Cody and The Rock later on. But I really like how you had all of them out there. This kind of reminded me of like the Seth, Drew, and Punk promo we got last year, where the
Oh
three of them
yeah.
were out in the ring and Raw. That was like a great segment with all three of those guys.
Mhm.
And it reminded me of this too, because you pretty much had each of these guys going out there explaining why they should win the Elimination Chamber. And when it comes to
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre, he posted something on X the other day saying all a bunch of shit about Cena, because even Cena said, I'm going to give my opponents a month to, talk all that shit about me or whatever before I head into this Elimination Chamber match. And Drew took the opportunity to do that. He did the thing on X. He did it tonight, talking about all that shit on John, talking about his bald spot, just a whole bunch of things to really put Cena out there, pretty much referencing like how Cena back then, people were afraid of him because he used to like bury them and ruin their careers and all of that. Now that he's older, he's not really scared of that anymore. Talking about Priest, talking about Punk, talking about Seth when he comes out there, all these different kinds of people. And I know that Drew is a popular choice when it comes to him potentially like winning the Elimination Chamber and going up against Cody and potentially siding with Rock, because the whole story's there and it makes sense. It's just, for me, at least from my perspective, if it ends up happening, I'll see where it goes. But my only thought process on it when it comes to Drew, since we're on this topic with them, putting themselves out there on the spot to prove to us why they should win, I kind of feel like you really need somebody that's like a face to sell out to make that turn hit harder, because Drew's already a heel. And you got like, obviously we know Logan's not going to win, but it's just like one of those things where it's like, wouldn't it just feels more organic if it's like you talked about Punk making all these references. He did it during the pre-show. He did it tonight, because it's just one of those things where it's like, well, you could see Drew doing that because he's failed so much, and that's like the Willy Wonka golden ticket to the chocolate factory. But it's like I referenced before with Stone Cold. Stone Cold was just like Punk, not giving a shit about Vince and all that, and then he sided with Vince at WrestleMania 17. Punk has always been the same guy. He says, you already know how I feel about Rock, all this kind of stuff. It's almost like it's in your face for a reason, because I just feel like the unexpected hits harder. Like, holy shit, Punk, a corporate guy? This goes against his character. But at the same time, it's genius because it's a whole new character, and there's so many things that could evolve from that. And you could possibly have him potentially walking out of Mania with a title. You could have Cena potentially getting 17 off of him. And then let's say Drew McIntyre gets it later that year, or you possibly have Randy Orton have a match with him towards the end of the year where he takes the title off of Cena. Maybe you could build into that program at Randy and Cody next year. So that's like my whole perspective on that. And I just really liked how each of these guys had a convincing argument. It really seemed like Drew and Priest, because one thing I noticed, it really seems like they're building into Drew and Priest in this segment between the both of them, because like out of all the people that they were really dishing out, they had like the most dirt on each other that I noticed.
Oh yeah, like, and that's the thing, like, I was never opposed, or if I was, it was more of this like a cautious kind of thing. But I feel like I was never really opposed to Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre at Mania. Like, people were just like, oh, Drew deserves better, It's just like, well, I get that, I understand that, but it's just like there's stuff with Priest. And, Priest is also good. Like, what is he going to be doing at WrestleMania? Well, yeah, exactly. So, like, why not put those two in a program together? They had good chemistry in the ring when they were doing their Money in the Bank match, which they referenced during this part. Like, I like how, like, the beginning of this segment was him, Damian Priest, and Seth, because Money in the Bank, that's what was happening. It was Seth taking on Priest for the title, and then Drew inserting himself because he won Money in the Bank, and then got screwed over. So I like how we're referencing the past like that. Like, okay, yeah, this is the Money in the Bank trio, if you will. Where, I mean, even at the same thing with WrestleMania, where it was Drew versus Punk with Damian Priest cashing in and all
Yep.
that. So it's like there's history here to be told, and there's stuff that we can go on and really like build upon for a WrestleMania match between Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. So it's just like, you know, when people are just like, oh, this person deserves better, this person deserves better. It's just like, you know, again, I get the mindset, I get the idea, but like, I'm not opposed to it because both men can put on a really great product.
Yeah, and the way that I look at it too, it almost seems like, why not let Drew get his revenge here? You have like Priest talking all this shit, always having the edge on him, taking away his WrestleMania moment, even though he did win the title against the crowd. I don't really want to see that being used as an argument anymore because he did.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, having his moment taken away from only it was like around 5 minutes, and then having that match at what was it, at Clash at the Castle last year. We went up against Drew. Yes, Punk interfered in that because it was building into that feud between the both of them. But still, like, he hasn't really been able to get the edge on Priest at all. I can't even recall that he's gotten the edge on him ever since. Priest has always one-upped him the entire time. So to me, it's like, if these guys have a match at WrestleMania, have Drew win, perfect opportunity to have him win King of the Ring. I mean, he's my personal pick. You could run him and Cody at like, actually, we don't even know if Cody's going to be champion, but still, you could easily run him at like SummerSlam or whatever. but it's like, I don't know, that's my thoughts. And then you had like the other thing where you had like Seth coming out and stuff. I liked how they're like poking fun at him because he looked like an oven mitt. Punk mentioned that. He's always getting clowned on his outfits all the time. I always find it funny. But another thing that was interesting as well is like they all had like a little spark with one another, where Seth had stuff to say to Priest. Seth had stuff to say to Drew, like, oh, if it wasn't for all this shit going on, I could have beat you at Money in the Bank last year when I came back, and all the stuff with Punk. But I feel like the real kicker here that I really liked, that I know got a reaction out of you, was the Logan Paul moment. Because,
oh my god,
you had John Cena's music play, and I didn't expect. Okay, he wasn't advertised for the show because you would think theoretically they would want to market it in a way where it's like, okay, we want to pull people in with this because that's a smart thing to do, especially if you're trying to build up to this match and everything. But it's like you had his music come out, so like, oh wait, is this like a potential surprise? And then you have Logan come out to his music, and I thought that was genius only because it pissed a lot of people off. People say, fuck you, Logan, I hate you, and all that. Which, I mean, hey, if you're getting those reactions online, that's what they want. That's basically the whole point of being a heel. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a heel. You should be getting heat. Like, that makes sense. You should be getting that booze. You should be getting all of that. And, yeah, no, Logan coming out there, that ticked me off. Because, like, I thought we were going to get a genuine surprise moment on SmackDown.
Yeah.
With John Cena just rocking up all nonchalant. I mean, it would make sense since, you know, Elimination Chamber is in Toronto, and he's got to be in Toronto anyways for it, so it wouldn't have surprised me if he showed up, but no, Logan Paul had to show up and be like, I'm a win. Whatever. I hope every single person in that match hits Logan Paul with their finisher like 5 times each.
Yeah, because you would think so. Like, out of all the people within this match itself, that's the one guy you don't want winning, and that's the one guy that you could see, like, whenever we have the Rumble, if, like, when Big Show came out, everybody started beating his ass, or whenever Nia Jax was involved in the Rumble, all the girls started kicking her ass, and you would think, realistically, all those guys that are inside the chamber, they would all go after Logan and just beat the living fuck out of him when it comes to just taking him out for a bit. But I'm gonna like pass this question to you because that this could be a possibility. We don't know for sure because I'm not believing anything that the dirt sheets are saying, because I saw something that came out from WrestleVotes today saying that there was like what what's that famous saying? Like, there's like a smoke screen everywhere. If you get what I'm trying to say, I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean.
Where it's like, there's a smoke screen out there where it's like you'll see this shit online, but it could just be WWE feeding information to people just to catch people off guard. So I'm not believing what any of these dirt sheets are saying, because realistically, it's a WrestleMania season. They could be throwing people off for a reason to get a completely different reaction tomorrow. But do you think, and I'm not saying this is could legit be a thing, but do you think there's a possibility they might be teasing Logan and Cena, or you think he's just doing that just to troll?
So, no, that after tonight, that's kind of been my fear now, that Logan was going to eliminate Cena from the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
And it still kind of is, just to kind of set up the match for them, which, I mean, I get it. That's a marquee match. That's a money match. You can sell that, and people will pay X amount of money to go see it, either at WrestleMania or on TV and all that. But I personally wouldn't want it, just because, forget Logan Paul and all that. Yeah, no, again, like we were talking about last night, this is kind of just, when you look at the Elimination Chamber, it's really a match between two people with Cena and Punk. One of those guys is going to win tomorrow. I would be shocked if it was somebody like Damian or Drew, just because of how their booking has been and all that. Yeah. But, I mean, good moment for Paul, though, to do that. Like, that, you want to get some heel heat? Yeah, do something like that. Come out to the biggest baby faces music and troll everybody like that. Like, yes, please keep doing that. I like too, though, how Punk kept trying to clap back at Logan Paul, but Logan Paul he kept talking over Punk in those moments, which kind of good, because he's showing that he has some sort of a backbone, even though he's being a chicken shit heel right now. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for this segment is it really showed you that the field is very unpredictable with who could win, and whoever does win, they've also got, the big old target of selling out to The Rock and all that. Yeah, I just thought this was a really, really good segment and all that. But, we transition now back to Cody Rhodes now. So, we've got our field set for Elimination Chamber. We've had that set for like a few days now. And the combatants have all talked to each other except for John Cena. But again, you can't really see him anyway, so it's besides the point. But all this ties into Cody making his decision with The Rock. Now, he's not making the decision tonight. It's being held off until tomorrow, so that's probably going to be on, like, a Planet Toronto or something. I don't know, whatever. But Cody is coming out here to kind of give his final words on all of this, and he's interrupted by a video package by The Rock, where The Rock kind of pulls a Rambo Johnson, just kind of goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Basically, the gist of The Rock's promos is like, hey, oh, you're good. I kind of transition now back to Cody.
Oh, okay, good.
And all that. Yeah, I basically give my piece about how good that segment was for the Elimination Chamber. But yeah, so the setup with all this, Rock coming out on the screen and all that, basically gifting Cody, on top of the awesome, luxurious dressing room he had, he gets a brand new truck with his logo on it. And for as long as the promo took, Rock was basically like, all right, sell out, because your family can really benefit from everything. And he shows off this belt, this workout belt that he had specially made, saying Cody Soul, and it has the date that Dusty died.
Yeah,
which
June
June 11th.
Let me look at it. It actually, I have it on my computer right now. It says June 11th, 2015. Yep.
Yeah, so like Rock he's been talking to Dusty apparently, like probably as a Force ghost from what it sounds like, since we're diving into souls and stealing souls and all that. But he's apparently been talking to Dusty this whole time, trying to push Cody into becoming the final boss's aura farmer or whatever. Now you said you had some things to say about this segment, so I've been rambling for the past few minutes. Go on ahead. Let us know your thoughts about this segment with The Rock.
So I'm just gonna come out and say it. I thought this was probably a better structured segment compared to last week. Not saying that the segment last week was bad, because me and you got the whole message behind it. It's just the way that Rock structured the promo. He kept going around in a circle over and over and over again. But basically the whole summary of that segment was, we want you to turn corporate. We want you to be like a Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, Triple H, The Rock, Stone Cold, etc. So we want you to go down that direction. And like we saw throughout, like earlier in the show, all the luxury, the sushi, the food, the truck, all this different kinds of shit to really bribe Cody to be like, holy shit, I'm locked in a box now. Like, maybe I have to go down this route because he's given all this stuff to me. And then you have that thing where it's almost like he's tormenting him with that belt that says Cody's Soul, June 15th. That was the date, I believe. I don't know why I forgot it so soon. June 15th. No, June 11th. My bad. June 11th, 2015. So it's like, I really like that, because it's like, it's really fucking with him. That's why I put in the title, The Rock plays mind games with Cody Rhodes, because he's really trying to get to a point where it's like, Cody's gonna crack, he's gonna do something. But then there's also a part of me where I'm thinking, does The Rock really want Cody Rhodes to be his champion, or does The Rock just want to fuck with him? Because the way that I look at it, seems like he's really trying to fuck with him, especially with the whole Dusty thing with that belt. It really seems like he's trying to fuck with him. You remember last week where he's like, you took that main event away from me when it came to me and Roman at WrestleMania that year. And obviously that bled into the whole feud that they had leading up into WrestleMania 40 when Cody finished his story. So you would think, okay, The Rock's going to torment Cody. Because like the way that I'm looking at it now, and we talked about it on our show earlier this year, the way that The Rock came back was a little bit weird. He was sucking up to Cody. He was trying to do this. He was trying to do that. And then after looking at how everything's been structured since that point, it's making me think maybe this was the game plan all along. Maybe he's trying to befriend Cody, get close to him, give him all these different kinds of things just to get in his head. Because me and you, we've watched different movies, TV shows. We watch different anime. We've read different mangas where we see villains that are set in that universe. They like to manipulate people to really get in their head, fuck with them, and have them do whatever they want. And I'm sort of feeling like that's possibly what The Rock's been doing since the very beginning. Like, he still does not give a fuck about Cody, but he's just trying to get inside of Cody's head to really fuck with him. And it just gets me really curious to see like how The Rock's gonna respond tomorrow when Cody says no, because I think we came to an agreement where Cody's gonna say no. And then I feel like that's when you're gonna get like that full reveal of like, yeah, that final boss is still there. He just wants to fuck with you, treat you like a toy. And then obviously whoever wins that chamber more than likely is going to be his corporate champion, and would probably be the person to potentially take away that title away from Cody, which I feel like if you want to elevate that story even further, that might be the decision that you got to do. But it just it just ended on a dark tone, because when I saw the belt, I was like, holy shit, I wasn't expecting it to end like this. Like it's just that moment right there made me really feel like maybe he's really just fucking with him. Like, he hates him so much, he wants to befriend him, but in reality, he just wants to fucking like torment this poor guy.
Yeah. Well, like, that's the thing. It's like the first villain that comes to mind with all this is actually Dr. Facilier from The Princess and the Frog. Because,
Yeah.
like, there's a moment in that movie where he does tempt Tiana. He's just like, look, here's everything you ever wanted. I could give it to you right now. You are literally almost there.
Yeah.
You know, you just got to kind of sell your soul to me. Yeah, and I will give you everything you've ever dreamed of. And that's kind of what The Rock is playing at right now. He's playing like that Dr. Facilier, being like, yeah, I could give you everything you want. You just got to kind of, you know, give me your soul and all. You got to kind of give me what makes you, you. Like, you got to, and that entails, you know, Cody and I love how Michael Cole tonight too, like during the interview part, like he kind of emphasized like what selling his soul to The Rock truly meant. It meant not doing these not indie shows, these just live shows and all that. It means not being able to be around the fans doing what he has been, like staying after the show's gone off the air and signing things and all that. Not him like being able to give a not being able to give like free tickets to somebody to come to SmackDown, or being some random person's best man and all that. I don't know if he actually did that, but that's besides the point. It's like these are things that Cody would lose, and that what make Cody Cody, and what makes him keep fighting and being the WWE champion and all that. So it's like, are you really willing to sell all of that away? Are you willing to get rid of all that? Because you're not going to be able to after some time. So it's like, you kind of got to make that decision now.
Yeah, I could definitely see where you're coming from with that comment, Moose.
Yeah.
Because even like Final Fantasy VII, you got Sephiroth trying to torment Cloud, trying to lead him in direction to join forces with him, trying to give him all these different kinds of things to just make life a better place for him. You even saw it recently in Rebirth when you had that whole part of the game where like they're in that little vortex, seeing all these different images where they're going through the space and everything, talking about the whole plan that Sephiroth's trying to do. So I mean, I definitely see like that sort of side of Rock too when it comes to him, like really just trying to get Cody into that level where he just wants to. It's almost like really Rock's trying to play chess at this point.
Yeah, he's trying to play chess while everybody's playing checkers and all that.
Yep.
And tomorrow night we're gonna get a lot of answers from, you know, who's gonna be facing Cody to.
Yeah.
Is Cody gonna become corporate and all that?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's gonna be a lot. I had this thought too before we move on as well. I was driving home tonight. And this thought kind of dawned on me as well. What if, and this is just a crazy speculative what if. So let's say like the show's structured to where, you know, the men's chamber is the main event, and this whole thing with The Rock is like the thing before the main event. So like Kevin and Sammy had done their thing, and then as they're cleaning up around the place or whatever, we get this segment with like Cody and The Rock.
Yeah.
I'm curious if like part of it, like Cody obviously tells Rock no and all that. What if Rock ends up not leaving the ring and is just like, all right, you know what? Fine. I'm going to be the special guest referee for the Elimination Chamber. I don't know why that thought kind of crossed my mind, but it would make sense if we're going to be doing the reveal of whoever is going to sell their soul to The Rock.
Yeah.
Like, it could end up that way, but again, that's just a wild speculation. But how would you feel if, like, Rock ended up being a special guest referee? Because, like, I think the other reason, too, I kind of pitched that idea is the fact that two of the big front runners are John Cena and CM Punk. Both people who have big history with The Rock. One of them, if not both of them, possibly being the ones to turn and be corporate and all that. So, like, what are your thoughts on just that quick little fantasy booking, I guess it would be?
I mean, it's definitely in the cards because, like he said, he can do whatever the hell he wants.
Exactly.
And I would assume this probably takes place towards like the middle of the show. Like I don't think it's gonna close off the show. I think the men's chamber is gonna close off the show. So I could easily see it being one of those things where it's like, okay, Rock gets his answer, Cody says no, a whole bunch of shenanigans happen, and but that's not the end. You see it transition into the main event, and he could easily do that because you remember when he had that tag match with Roman when he went up against Cody and Seth, where he was trying to tell the ref no 10 counts, I could do whatever the fuck I want, stuff like that. He could easily do that. I mean, the thing with The Rock is the fact that he could make himself a ref. He can insert himself in the match. Not saying he is, but I'm just basically saying he could do whatever he wants. So that's definitely like I could definitely see that happening, because then it makes you feel like, okay, this wasn't just that one part of the show. Like we're gonna end it off on a crazy angle, because I can't just see it where it's like we got the guy, whoever wins the men's chamber tomorrow. I can't just see it ending like last year where it's like the person celebrating and it's all over. You got to end off on a crazy angle. You can't just do that.
Yeah, no, you got to do something a little bit more going forward. Oh man, but we've talked a lot about our world title scene, especially on SmackDown. Let's transition now to our other mid-card stories and all that. We had some good mid-card stuff beyond the world title picture and beyond the U.S. title picture. For example, we had our women's U.S. champion taking on our current WWE Women's Champion in Chelsea Green, taking on Tiffany Stratton. Now, the match was fine, I thought. All things considered, this got set up because Trish and Tiffany are in the ring, kind of praising each other, praising Toronto and all that, and they get interrupted by Chelsea Green, who's pulling her shtick and all that. And because she had to open up her big old mouth about it, a match ends up happening between her and Tiffany Stratton right then and there. Again, I thought the match was fine. It was mainly leading towards the finish, if we're being honest, with Nia and Candice taking them out, getting the DQ finish and all that, and then Tiff and Trish standing tall and all that. But I mean, again, it was fine. The match itself was fine. The post-match beatdown was fine. Yeah, I didn't have many other notes beyond that. Besides the promo work with Tiffany and Trish, I'm not gonna say it's grating, but Tiffany, you need a little bit more bite with your promos.
Here's what I'll say, because I talked about this with Billy at work today when I was talking about Tiffany Stratton's current position when it comes to her transition into a babyface, because more than likely she's going to be the babyface of this feud against Charlotte once we head into WrestleMania.
Oh yeah,
it only makes sense. Nobody's going to get behind Charlotte winning the Rumble. That was pretty apparent when she came out on Raw and how she was talking to the crowd that night and everything. And it's honestly best for business when it comes to them basically having her be a heel in the feud to begin with, especially the way that she's been treating her. But it's like with Tiffany Stratton, like she really needs to tap into like a different playing field when it comes to how she's structuring her promos, because like this is nothing against Tiffany. This is obviously the creative direction, because I do know they have a little bit more freedom when it comes to things that they want to say, but I feel like you really need to have like that feel of her as a babyface, because she kind of feels like the same Tiffany Stratton that we've known ever since she came up to the main roster, where she's pretty much been the same person. So I kind of want to see her like on her own when it comes to her like cutting more promos on Charlotte, actually looking like a champion when she's going up against Charlotte, because I don't want the whole feud to be Charlotte just standing over her, talking down to her and stuff like that, because yes, you could do that with bits and pieces within the feud between the both of them, but it's like I really want to see Tiffany get up in her face and like call her out on a lot of her bullshit. Like, I don't know if you remember last week, it almost sounded like she was shooting in a way when she was talking about like all this stuff given to Charlotte and just basically the overall presence of Charlotte Flair. Because believe it or not, like even that promo that you saw of LA Knight, that was pretty much like a shoot when it came to those stage shenanigans, and it happens in wrestling. They do shoot just to add that little realism to their promos. But that's what I'm hoping with this when it comes to like after the whole Trish thing. But yeah, like this match, honestly, what it really was, because we do know that she was supposed to get some sort of surprise opponent, and then it ended up being Tiffany Stratton. This was pretty much a moment that I saw to really get Chelsea Green in front of the Toronto crowd in Canada, because it is where she's from. She's a Canadian.
Oh yeah.
Just to get her like a little moment here. I'm glad that the match ended the way it did, because I don't know if it would really look the best if you have your main champion on SmackDown pinning your mid-card champion when you still need to elevate that title even further. Like imagine, you know, we already had the both of them get pinned to advance this tournament. Yes, they're fine. No damage is done. But at the same time, you know, going from that and then having your main champion pin them, I don't know if that would really look the best at the end of the day. But I'm just hoping something comes out of this. Apparently, Chelsea Green, I saw online as you were giving your thoughts on stuff too, but apparently Chelsea Green and Michin are having a match next week, street fight. I'm honestly hoping we get out of that vortex eventually, like, because I'm not against Chelsea Green like being a champion, but I want to see more. It's like you got the vignette with Zelina, throw Zelina in there. Or at least give B-Fab a shot, because that's the thing that throws me off guard, is the fact that B-Fab has been talking a lot of shit to her, getting to her face. She hasn't had one opportunity.
And she has yet to get a chance.
Yeah.
Like what are we doing with B-Fab? What are we doing just like with more competitors? Like, give us more, please, you know? I mean, that's cool that we're getting a street fight next week. I mean, that'll slap, you know? But it's just like, when you look beyond what the match is going to be, like, why are we even doing this? You know?
Yeah. But yeah, this was like, just a feel-good moment between all of them, and just to have shenanigans play out with Nia and Candice on the show.
And again, like, it's a good way to kind of showcase Chelsea Green again. Like, I'm going to keep saying it. I think she's a very underrated talent. I mean, yeah, she can have her moments where, you know, things don't look too great and all that, but like, even beyond that, I mean, she knows how to go in the ring. She knows how to move around in the ring and craft a good story to go along with her character. And she's one of those talents that's good not only with her character work, but in the mat too. So yeah, I thought this was a good way to just kind of showcase that a little bit and kind of hopefully like teach Tiffany how to be a ring general in a way. Because again, I think Chelsea Green's really good at doing that too, kind of like guiding somebody into a good match and doing all that. So yeah, I mean, again, this match did what it had to do. Gave us something really good, a feel good thing for, you know, Chelsea and Trish involved, and some proper heel work from Nia and Candice leading into tomorrow and all that. So yeah, I don't have any other notes beyond that. But what I do know is that the Street Profits are back. They are back to have action. They're back to have another tag team match, playa holla holla, against Los Garza, who were wrongfully accused of attacking the Street Profits way back when. And this match doesn't even get underway because DIY, Pretty Deadly, and Motor City Machine Guns come out there to basically start a huge brawl and all that. So, yeah, this was pretty big. I feel like this is going to be part of the build to a multi-man tag match at Mania. But again, we'll have to wait and see with that one, because that one's one where you don't really yeah, I don't know where I was going with that last part, but like, I don't know. I like pull apart. I like having a multi-man pull apart brawl. I think because at least there's a lot more moving parts going on. We have a bunch of tag teams getting into it here, and hopefully by the end of all of this, Street Profits kind of stand up on top and all that. Yeah, I don't have a lot of notes because again, it's just a pull apart brawl. And we keep getting a lot of them, but at least this one was different because it involved the tag teams.
Yeah, I will say I did like this because you got them all involved. It wasn't just one of those things where it lasted like a minute or two. Like you actually had this going on for a bit, and I'm hoping this is just a way to like really continue what they're doing with the tag team division when it comes to properly structuring them, making them matter, um, putting them into situations that people care. And I could see it turning into like some sort of multi-man match again, the whole multi man mania ideal thing. And
Yeah.
I would hope at the end of the day, like the Street Profits come out on top because I feel like if anything, they probably need it the most.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to see where this goes. I'm assuming we'll get more next week. With just the fallout from all of this and
Oh yeah,
everything. Interesting to note too how like Street Profits and Motor City Machine Guns are the ones that are usually standing on top of these brawls that we've been getting in the past week, especially the Street Profits, because again they're back and they need to continue the heat that they're getting through. Um, kind of surprised they don't have a new theme yet, but hopefully if they do, since they're doing kind of this heel tweener stick right now,
yeah.
hopefully it's better than the last one we got, and hopefully it's not like fully Def Rebelled when and if that happens.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm gonna hold my thoughts on them getting a theme change because I don't want it to get changed and sounding weird. So
Yeah.
as long as I keep the same attitude, I can get behind the
hmm
the current song they have now.
Mm. Yeah. But so yeah, we'll speak more on that as we continue the build going into WrestleMania. But Sammy comes out here to talk in this next segment we're going to talk about. Basically trying to get like some final words with Kevin Owens and all that. Basically stating that, hey, Kevin, you've been running a lot from responsibility and taking um, ownership of your actions and all that. But I know you're in Toronto, and I want you to come out here to talk to me and stare me down face to face before we have this match tomorrow. And I like the setup for this because it's like, yeah, you're in Toronto, but you're not in the SmackDown building. You're out where Elimination Chamber is. And the reason he's out there is just to kind of soak it in, because and this is one of those promos where you can kind of tell it came from a personal spot, because Kevin does hint at some of the spots that they've faced each other in the past when they've been in Canada or any other place around the world. But this one in Toronto just means a little bit more because they're around their hometown people and home country and all that. And yeah, he's just kind of there in Rogers Center to just kind of soak it all in and respond to Sammy. And I mean, again, they've had enough fights that tomorrow's just going to be the biggest yet to come. Which they keep hyping that up, so I'm hoping the match meets those expectations that they're kind of setting. But yeah, this was just another great promo from Sammy and Kevin Owens towards each other. Just again, both kind of doubling down with like the whole, oh, I didn't really do anything wrong, and Kevin being like, no, you did everything wrong. Yeah, we'll just have to wait until tomorrow. What do you think of this promo back and forth we got?
I thought it was pretty good. It did what it needed to do, and it honestly gets me super excited for this match even more than I already have. And I
Mm-hmm.
even said to you that this could definitely be a match of the year contender. Like when you're talking about
Oh yeah.
all of the matches that happened throughout the year of 2025, you could easily put this on the list because it's an unsanctioned match. And they even said the only thing that the ref is really doing in this match is counting the pinfall or submission. Other than that, they're
Mm-hmm.
not responsible if you break someone's neck, you break a bone, whatever levels that they go within this match to really make it feel chaotic, which they are hyping it up to feel chaotic. And you would think by default, just by seeing it being announced as an unsanctioned match, which is something they don't normally do all the time, it's gonna hit hard.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's gonna hit really hard. Hopefully, I
Could be
mean, I
the
don't
best.
wish ill will towards anybody, but
Uh,
hopefully hopefully some spots that kind of make me cringe.
yeah.
Let me get that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that shouldn't be too hard for you guys to do. But yeah, so our last thing we're gonna talk about, we've been kind of blowing through the show tonight, but hey, that's fine because again, it's a go home show. It's all good. We had our at least most of the women that are taking part in Elimination Chamber tomorrow night. We had them in a triple trios match. I'm gonna say because of AEW on the mind and all that. Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Bailey taking on Roxanne Perez, Liv Morgan, and Raquel Rodriguez. Now, this was mainly set up because earlier today during the kickoff show or whatever, you had Bianca and Naomi fighting Liv and Raquel during the event and all that. So it's just like, all right, let's just throw you guys in a 6-woman tag, have at it, and hopefully things get better there. Um, I'm glad they didn't have Alexa part of this because, like, in an older regime, they would have just thrown Alexa Bliss into one of the teams just to be on her
Yeah.
and for her to just be on the show and all that stuff. But she was still on the show to hit a they're calling it like an Abigail DDT, which I'm fine with since it's different from uh from the sister Abigail and all that. But like with the match itself, I mean, this is just another version of, hey, they cooked really hard on this. And I mean, just the action was great throughout. Some of the different tag team maneuvers we got, some of the different, like, just one-on-one maneuvers we got. And Roxanne Perez, and I said this in the tweet too, she is going to be the biggest star that they have on their roster for many years to come. Like, this girl just knows, she gets it. Like that, the closing segments of the match with her countering the Bailey to belly and being able to hit the pop rocks, and the pop rocks looking so great on the main roster, giving her the win over Bailey clean. Just adding more fuel to that rivalry when we get it. But yeah, I really like this match. I thought it was a lot of fun. But Drop, what do you think of it?
I thought it was a really good match. Seeing Bianca, Naomi, Bailey, Roxy, Liv, and Raquel in here. I thought it was
Mm-hmm.
nice to showcase what these girls are capable of, having them a part of the show, knowing how all 6 of these ladies are going to be locked in the chamber tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised
Mm-hmm.
in the slightest if they actually start off the show with the women's chamber match.
Oh yeah.
And like you said with Roxanne, she's definitely going to be one of those big stars that they're going to be pushing years to come. She could potentially be a Money in the Bank winner. Easily fits her character 100%. She's just going to be somebody that's going to be up there with Tiffany Stratton when it comes to building that division years to come. And then
Yeah.
in their future, they'll be in like Charlotte's position and Becky's position, looking at girls coming up to help build them up to continue the whole entire cycle. And I could see her doing very well. You could definitely tell that they have a lot of faith in her. They had her break a
Mm-hmm.
record. They're putting her inside of the Elimination Chamber, similar to what they did with Tiffany Stratton last year, because that was
Yeah.
her first Elimination Chamber too. You have Roxanne being put in here as her first Elimination Chamber. So they definitely see a lot in her, and they definitely want to take her to levels that she definitely deserves to go down. So I am very happy about that. One of the things I did notice earlier in the night when it came to Bianca was like the way that I don't know if you noticed the way she was looking at Naomi.
Uh, I didn't really take notice of it.
Well, she was like giving Naomi some weird look. I don't know if it's because she's a little upset
Mm.
because of the tag titles or whatever, but it's like I just like how you're getting them in here because it's like they could look this way today, but tomorrow it could be a whole different story. Like I just don't
Mm-hmm.
expect both of these chambers to be like, okay, you're getting your winners and that's it. I expect different angles to play out. I expect WrestleMania matches to be teased within these chambers to pretty much build up to WrestleMania. And I also like how Alexa wasn't a part of this match as well, because she really didn't need to be a part of it. But I liked how she made her mark there of Roxanne, a newbie to the roster, showing her that, yeah, you're in my playground now, which she made pretty apparent in her vignette last week, that the chamber is her playground. And once you're locked up in there with her, there's no escape. So I liked how she had her little moment there. And I just really liked how these women were able to go out there and put on a pretty good match.
Oh yeah, yeah, and they're gonna slap tomorrow too, very hard as well. And yeah, I like the little thing too, because like we had a little backstage segment even before the match where Bianca, Naomi, and Bailey were kind of going back and forth about, oh, if I want Liv and all that because of all that happened, but Bailey wants Roxanne and all that stuff. Like, we're getting those intertwining stories, just meshing in very well with the main roster and all that. And yeah, all three of them were basically like, yeah, we'll make sure we play things fair and even if it is just 1-on-1 or 2-on-1, 3-on-1, like whatever. If it's just those three, it'll be fine and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you know what? That was SmackDown tonight. Like, again, I feel like we kind of breezed through the show a little bit tonight, but that's fine because the show itself was really good. Like, again, I thought this was a really well-paced SmackDown with everything that they added into it. There were, hold on, how many? Technically, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There were technically 6 matches on the card. Now, some of them, especially one, really wasn't a match, and I'm not even counting the tag team quote-unquote match that was supposed to happen. Yeah. So technically 6 bell-to-bell matches happened tonight, each with a different result and a different way to get to a result. But yeah, I thought everybody looked really good. And the only thing I want to say is just like, with these go-home shows, and especially if we're not going to put like a mid-card title on the show itself, this is a good way to kind of build your mid-card title. Like, I'm not saying do this all the time for go-home shows and all that, but like, make your go-home show, especially if like SmackDown is going to be that kind of kickoff show in a way for your weekend of wrestling. Like, have a card like this, because like all your matches on your pay-per-view card, so like for the Elimination Chamber, for example, it doesn't need any more build than it already has. Maybe a vignette here or two, or like maybe a short hype package or something, but like, you don't really need to cook too much more going into the main card. So like, you can really let your mid card bloom and your lower card even bloom as well during these kickoff shows. So that way, like, your main event talent, or like the talent that's going to be on the PLEs, can kind of take the night to relax a little bit. But yeah, again, I thought SmackDown was really, really good this week. What about you, Drop? What did you think of SmackDown tonight?
Like we discussed earlier, I thought this was probably the best 3-hour SmackDown that we got ever since they went to 3 hours in January. So I thought the show was structured very well. It did what it needed to do when it added to the number 1 contenders tournament for the U.S. title. Very good matches that came out of there. The whole story going on with Cody, I thought that was a crazy angle to end off the show. I really like how that was structured. Having all the guys come in there as well to really put their foot in the door and show why they deserve to be at Mania, and just talk their shit, which they have every right to do. Adding more to the Sami and KO match, which is probably going to be a very great match. Like, I'm definitely expecting this to possibly be the match of the night personally. And also just seeing the ladies cook, it was really nice to see them get themselves out there, show what they're capable of. Roxanne being a newbie to the roster, it's nice to see her go out there. We got to take her a little bit for the crowd to know her, because not everybody watches NXT, but I'm sure she'll organically get over. I mean, it's part of the process. It happens to everyone. I'm pretty sure she'll be fine at the end of the day. And yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow to see how things progress, because it's going to be a crazy elimination chamber. I can already tell. I'm
Oh, yeah.
hoping it's things that are unexpected outside of what we know, so we have some really spicy topics to talk about tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I'm expecting a big show with a few twists here and there,
Yeah.
and I mean, according to Triple H, this is going to be something that's going to be really big, really massive going into WrestleMania season. So hopefully, it lives up to that.
Yeah,
I don't want to
hopefully.
say, oh, it's not going to. It's going to be crap all over. Blah, blah, blah. It's like,
Yeah.
nah. I have a feeling tomorrow's going to still be a really good show. But again, that was SmackDown, and hey, that was Weebs of the Ring. Now, speaking of tomorrow, when it comes to Elimination Chamber, we're going to be doing a couple things tomorrow. First off, on our Twitch channel, we are going to be doing a sidecast, me, Vash, and I believe we're going to have a special guest in Vonnie joining us for Elimination Chamber. So, join us for that. We're going to try to go live at about 6:30 p.m. or at least 6:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that is. So, about 15 to 30 minutes before the actual event starts and all that. So, we plan on doing that, and then after the show with that, we're going to be getting ready to do our Weebs of the Ring show as well. So you'll be hearing our thoughts about Elimination Chamber tomorrow. And I don't know if Vonnie's going to be joining that one. I'll have to double check with both him and Vash tomorrow, but
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a thing as well. We'll have to wait and see. But we do have the stream already ready too. So if you go into that, you can hit the little bell icon to be notified when we actually do go live, and just gotta hang out in the chat right then and there. But yeah, again, that was the show tonight. We got some stuff coming out this weekend that's gonna be really great and really fun. And yeah, so I'm just going to take time right now to thank you guys for taking time of your day to listen to the Weebs of the Ring podcast. If you enjoyed what we had to say, hey, down there in the yellow on the bottom of the screen are a bunch of handles that you can find us at, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff. You got the handles down there. You got the description that has all the links to find everybody down below. Make sure you check all that stuff out, and make sure to use also, there's a little hashtag right there known as Weebs of the Ring. You can use that hashtag to talk with us before, during, or after any of our shows, because hey, feedback is always appreciated, and we are nothing without you guys tuning in. Weebs of the Ring is presented by AniMa W3 Studio. Thanks as always to our production team for all of the hard work that they put on. And remember, as always, people, no stunt grannies were harmed in the recording of this podcast. Have a good night. Pass out after this whole week of work. And we will see you tomorrow night in Bizarro Land for the Elimination Chamber.
See you guys.